Alright, today we're going to visit some history of good old Washington, Seattle, Washington specifically. So I've lived in Washington for going on 6 years now. Tell me why I barely found out that a World's Fair sized event happened on the UW campus in 1909, like 3 weeks ago. Oh, before all that, shout out to Joey from the Library of the Untold channel. Amazing channel for conspiracies and all kinds of esoteric knowledge. He actually watched my last video, gave me feedback, so that's pretty crazy considering how huge his channel is. So go check him out if you really want to learn something. Alright, so to be specific, the fair was called the Alaska-Yukon-Pacific Exposition. It featured grand building designs to educate the public of the importance of the Pacific Northwest and the surrounding areas that they trade with. It was so educational, in fact, that they even mirrored the cultural designs for specific countries when it came to the buildings, including Spanish themes, Japanese, French, Greek, obviously. As far as the expositions themselves go, they included Alaskan Native culture, Hawaiian culture, and even Filipino culture. So it was pretty cool. Now, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the subject, it will sound so nonsensical that I'll just let you know up front where I'm getting my information from. Almost every picture, date, and name was found on the official Library of Congress website. Simply search on there Alaskan-Yukon-Pacific Exposition 1909 and you'll find everything that you see on this video. I also reference different .orgs for specific information about the exhibits. I'm going to be honest with you, just because it's faster than reading through every single multi-hundred page book on the Library of Congress. The book I'm going to be referencing the most is called Participation in the Alaskan-Yukon-Pacific Exposition, which was created and published by the Washington Government Print Office in 1911. This means that this was treated as an official government record, so I just want to throw that out there. And if you don't believe me, allow me to read from the first page with writing found within that book. Message from the President of the United States, transmitting the report of the United States Government Board of Managers of the government participation in the Alaskan-Yukon-Pacific Exposition. Now that we agree that what I'm going to say is not my own words, but official information, let's begin. Google World's Fairs from the late 1800s to early 1900s, and you'll see the same pattern. Fantastical building designs that are disproportionate to the human creators of that time. Giant pillars that make you wonder if you're in America or ancient Greece. And the same explanation of all the structures you see are made of either cheap plaster, paper mache, cheap wood, or early bricks, and that they were all built to only last 1 to 2 years maximum. Please Google fact check me. Now for a second, I want you to forget what you were told in school. I want you to put down everything you think you already know and just use common sense. Now, if you're someone who's been told that you lack common sense, then just use regular sense. I promise it works the same. Here, I present the official bird's eye view of the AYP Expo. After doing quite a bit of digging, I found a few inconsistencies in the information available online as compared to what's found on the Library of Congress's website. For example, the book was written by, at the time, Acting Secretary of the Interior Jesse Everett Wilson. He claims, and I quote, within a radius of 1,000 miles of Seattle, over 8 million people abide, and achievements of the Western Hemisphere could nowhere be more satisfactorily exemplified than in the Pacific Northwest. Now, that's quite a hefty number settled in just Seattle during 1907. Makes you wonder why, if you Google any census, it shows something completely different. For example, according to the University of Washington, their records show the population of Seattle in 1907 to be, somewhere in the ballpark of 237,194. I've seen others online, but the largest number you'll find is about 270,000. Drastically different from what the acting Secretary of the Interior at the time said. So, why the huge disparity in the numbers? Could have anything to do with the multiple fires that seemed to plague a lot of the libraries during the early 1900s? Maybe, but we'll just chalk it up to human error for now. Oh, by the way, the official reported number of visitors for this expo was somehow 3.7 million. But, oh, my bad. Forgot. Human error. Did you know that this was all brought to life in 1906? May 8th, 1906 to be exact. Somehow they managed to clear 250 acres in sunny Seattle, Washington, put up all the incredible exhibits you'll see in this video, all while still developing the city within 3 years. And by developing, I mean from the ground up. Look up the regrading process Seattle had to go through. Like, we're talking about cutting out sections of entire hills with your greatest weapon and tool being a steam shovel. Alright. The power of good old can-do attitude, I guess. This is dirt road times 2, by the way. No heavy machinery that was mobile. The first time Snohomish County had public power was 1888, for crying out loud. For context, how did your grandparents get their news growing up? Was it instantly, or were they waiting days or even weeks to get that "do you like me" letter back from their crush? So how is information traveling so fast and ingenuity keeping up? With the creation of new technology gives birth to supply needs. How fast do you think businesses are growing? The need for printed money alone to pay for all the supply in the first place. The labor force needed. The housing and food for the labor force. Something interesting that Mr. Wilson writes is how everyone knew how the fair started. He writes, and I swear I'm quoting from his words, not mine. Quote, "At the close of the official program, promptly at 12 o'clock Seattle time, President Taft, from the White House in Washington, pressed a button, and immediately following the announcement was made of the official opening of the exposition. Flags were unfurled from each of the masts on the government exhibit buildings, and the doors of the buildings opened for the period of the exposition." First of all, I don't know what official program is being broadcasted or how, because according to Google, Iowa State's college's station 9YI, changed to WOI since 1922, experiments with broadcasting in Morse code in 1912. That's just Morse code. So what's going on? President Taft pushes a button from his office. The White House promptly, after some official program, flags start unfurling. How, when Google says the first president to even have the ability to address the nation via radio was Warren G. Harding, and that was at the dedication of the Lincoln Memorial in May 30th of 1922. So, either the acting secretary was trying to turn this into some exaggerated story, Oh, P.S. This book is more like a receipt book, like an official ledger meant to note where America's money was being spent and who owned what property at the end of the event, because everything got turned over to the University of Washington. Or the president pushed a button where they went out of their way to note the local time and flags unfurled. Another oddity I found while researching this is what historylink.org had to say about the Alaska building in particular. Quote, "The Alaska building, the Northern Empire's first building in any exposition, was a commanding structure that covered 36,000 square feet of land. Its exhibits showcased the resources the territory had to offer, not the least of which was gold. One of the more eye-catching displays featured more than $1 million in golden nuggets, dust, and ingots inside a heavily fortified case. At the end of each day, the cage was lowered through the floor to an underground vault accessible only by tunnel." End quote. Excuse me? Northern Empire, first of all, is kind of crazy. Wild description of untamed Alaska. But a tunnel capable of storing a heavily fortified case that's holding $1 million in gold? Any guesses on how much 1 million in gold weighs? Just go ahead and leave it in the comments. For those of you impatient, the answer is almost 3,000 pounds. And that's adjusting for the price of gold at the time being almost $21 an ounce, 1909. Not counting this heavily fortified cage it was in, so more metal chains. And where did this tunnel lead to that the vault was only accessible by it? Who built this tunnel? When? By the way, the Alaskan building was demolished promptly after the fair. Weird if you're gonna build a whole tunnel under, whatever. Someone help though. Like, what do I chalk this up to? I don't think I have enough chalk anymore. Kind of late to bring it up, but in the background of that bird's eye view picture is a blimp, not a hot air balloon, which Google claims how bird eye view portraits were done during that time. If you don't believe me, go back to the beginning, pause, and enhance, because I'm legitimately doing all this on an iPhone, so it would actually save me like a lot of time. Thank you for your understanding. Not sure how long this video is at this point, but I think one more weird thing shouldn't strain your worldview too badly. Let's look at the Hawaii building, a destination to show off the new partnership. If you know, you know, and I leave it at that. With the partnership of America and its territory, Hawaii. Also, I couldn't find pictures of the exhibit specifically itself, so just use your imagination while I show the rest of the photos that I do have. According to historylink.org, quote, "A great cement water tank, 60 feet in length, ran through the center of the building and provided visitors with an overview of the islands in miniature." Excuse me? 60-foot long cement tank? That's pretty elaborate for an attraction only open from July to October. Like, not even a full year. There's a map from UW, and it shows pictures of the buildings with little descriptions under them. There's one in particular, and that is for the auditorium. It reads, and I quote, "Auditorium, permanent steel and brick, to revert to the University of Washington, completed December 1908, end quote." Well, this is awkward. That same auditorium got converted into the Suzalo Library in 1926 before it was torn down due to an earthquake in 65. Now ask yourself, builders were able to build mock buildings on the scale or larger of the magnificent Suzalo Library, while building a real one made of steel and brick? How, Sway? So not only did they clear and reshape 250 acres worth of landscape, but they were also able to build some real metal and concrete buildings and make the fake ones look like identical twins. Materials, moving just the earth and the logs. It rains, what, 8 out of 12 months in Washington? Are we there? Like, are you awake yet, or do I have to keep digging at it? By awake, I'm saying now that you've listened to all that information, using your regular / common sense filter, what do you think? Is it a possibility that everything you thought you knew about history is questionable? When did it become lame to do your own research, especially when it comes to established theories like our own history? And yes, I say a theory because when you really put your high school football teacher's words under a microscope, you realize why they had that teacher with the most commanding authority teaching it. Shout out to the teachers though, man, seriously. I had plenty growing up that tried their best to incorporate just enough truth as to not get caught by the system, so we made it. The point I'm trying to make is question everything. Truth isn't afraid of questions because it can withstand any scrutiny. And when they tell you it's a waste of time to even look, you might end up with egg on your face like all those Clovis layer archaeologists who blackballed anyone from digging deeper than 12,750 years ago worth of soil. Only to be proven wrong time and time again, accidentally, by stuff like digging up before a freeway, which accidentally unearthed tools from 30,000 to 50,000 years old. It seems every time I turn my head, we're updating how advanced our ancient ancestors used to be. So why can't we do it for our Rockefeller school system? These are all just ramblings though. Don't take anything too seriously, and be as kind and as much as possible to each other. We're gonna be alright. Thanks for watching.